Here's my Valorant patch notes rundown for 9.05. I know a bit about the patch in the ASTRA changes, but I don't know anything else. I know that people are very happy about the chamber changes. So let's move on to Omen, the agent updates. So Omen's getting voice lines, all for the lore. Probably sets up a cinematic. I imagine we will see Omen in the future on these patches before the off-season ends, because he probably will get nerfed. He's the strongest controller by far. And if we don't see him nerfed, I imagine we will see, at least if this current patch, if the future patches don't change anything, then I imagine that this patch will show that it's going to be like Omen Astra compositions that we'll see a lot next year. If Omen doesn't get nerfed, that's the case. If Omen does get nerfed, then it means we'll probably see a lot more Astra overall than Omen. It kind of depends on the severity of his nerfs, but we'll see. I do imagine we'll see Omen in the future though. Next is Chamber. Rendezvous. TP radius increased from 13 meters to 18 meters. Whenever Rendezvous comes up on patch notes, it's scary because you don't know if it's going to be a crazy buff or if they're just going to gut him again. Because Rendezvous is one of those abilities that are like super fundamentally strong. So it is super hard to really make the ability bad, to be honest. Because even in its 13 meter state, it was still kind of a good ability because it still allowed you to take that first fight for free. It's just that potentially the TP could put you in a bad position and then it could eventually get you killed, because, or like just not put you in a very good position to have impact because you had to place like a weaker TP. So we'll take the comparison between, I'll just explain the 13 meters one first, where when you have the 30 meters TP, you would basically be choosing between having a weak TP spot with a strong off angle, or you would have a strong TP spot with a weak off angle. So the strong TP spot would be something that doesn't eventually get you killed in the round, or you can't get run down, so like a Neon can't run at you with a breach stun or whatever, or a Raze can't satchel towards you and that kind of stuff and catch you on the TP. Or it puts you just in, or like a place where you can't get lurked on and that kind of stuff, right? That's going to be like a weak TP. One that can get lurked on, one that can be punished after the TP goes through. The benefit to that though you would have a stronger off angle, so it'd be more likely that you would get the original kill because you would just be on a harder angle to react to, harder angle, like a more unexpected angle, basically. Where if you do the other way around, so if you have a stronger TP with a weak off angle, the off angle itself, you'd be less likely to kind of get the kill, and because the off angle will be more predictable in a much more easier position to maybe react to, or just a general position where they wouldn't really die to you. Maybe you would like have to hit like a really difficult shot to actually get a kill off it. But the TP itself is in a strong position, so it's a harder position to get lurked on, harder position for the enemy team to react to when you TP. So. And to be fair, 30 meter Rendezvous, bear in mind all the maps that I've seen him being played, a lot of the weaker off angles, stronger TPs were the ones being used because it was just better that way. So this change with the 18 meters one, it basically means that Chamber no longer has to choose between those two options, and he can have the strong TP with the strong off angle. That's basically the best way I think I can explain it. It might have been a bit long-winded, so I'm a bit sorry about that. But I think that's the best way to explain it, where I think now he can have a strong off angle and a TP that doesn't get reacted to very easily and doesn't get lurked on very easily. Or at least a lot less easier than what it used to be. So I do think this is a dangerous change. I think we will see a lot more Chamber, especially in Ranked. He's going to be the scourge of Ranked. We'll see him a lot more. And if you're a Chamber player, you're probably rejoicing. If you're not a Chamber player, you're probably despairing. But yeah, I think Chamber is going to be in a strong spot for Ranked. And I think he might sneak his way a bit more into competitive. We did see fringe pics of him in competitive, but he will get played a bit more now that these changes exist. Because his Rendezvous is just better. Rendezvous is a really dangerous thing to buff. Okay, so the extra changes are pretty big. 4 stars to 5 stars is a pretty massive change because it means that she no longer has to choose like where specifically in the round she needs to be strong. Because before you would kind of need to pick like, I'm going to be strong in mid round and post, but I'm going to be completely used at the start of the round, or something along those lines, right? I'm going to be strong at the start of the round. I can't really do much in mid round because I can't just place a smoke because I need it for the execute. She really struggled to have mid round presence. That was like the main problem she had because she was just so limited. Because a lot of people would opt into having the execute smokes and they would also opt into have it obviously, but double controller could help her a lot in that sense, but she would usually have to like choose to have like the execute smoke, because usually she's getting played with Viper as well, and Viper wanted to have a default wall. So you would be doing the execute smokes as Astra, and then you would have 2 things left to kind of use. And it was really, really hard to choose, because you had to have, it was really good to have a post plant presence as well with the gravity well, because easily win new rounds. But then you would also have to sacrifice that to mid round, or you'd have to sacrifice your mid round for that. And 5 means you don't have to do that, at least not as much. It kind of depends on the mid round and what you want to do and how much you use. But for the most part, I think smarter players and smarter teams especially, 5 stars is more than enough for Astra to be really effective. So I think we will see her back in the competitive meta if she stays like this in the off season. But hopefully she does, because I think Astra is one of the most fun characters to play against and watch. So hopefully Astra does stay around and gets played a lot. She won't be played that much in ranked, because she never really is. She'll have a bit of a boom from these changes, and then she'll gradually go back down again. But for the most part, she'll be seen a lot in competitive. Stim behavior. Over the years, we've heard player feedback that combat stim effects like Reyna's Empress can feel disruptive when spraying, and it makes it harder to hit your shots. We've updated all buffs that increase your rate of fire to have consistent recoil control that matches the default rate of fire. This should allow players who are stimmed to utilize their learned muscle memory that they've built up from an unstimmed weaponry. Wait, so the change only affects how stims modify recoil, affecting the applied without affecting the applied spread reduction. Wait, okay, I'm not sure if I get this right, so might need to correct me in the comments here. But essentially, you're firing more bullets. You're firing more bullets in comparison to the spray control, right? So you do the same spray control, but you fired more bullets at that point in the spray control, if that makes sense. So say if you fired like 6 bullets on a normal spray, and then you're stimmed and you fire like say like 9 bullets, you'll still be on the same place on the spray control, but you would have fired more bullets. I think that's how that works, right? That might be wrong, but that's how I'm understanding it. That could be wrong though, so I might need some knowers in the comments to correct me. But I think that sounds really good. I'm not gonna lie, that means that like Brim, for instance, gets buffed more than Reyna does for this, because Brim has the most active stim. Like he has the one with the most agency that you can just use, right? As far as I know, other stims is Reyna's Empress and Clove's whatever it's called. Lift me up. I don't know what it's called. But yeah, Clove's thing as well. I think that is also a stim, right? Maybe not a fire rate stim though. I don't remember, to be honest. Coach, by the way. Reyna's, so this affects Stim the most. Brim the most, because he has the most agency with this stim. He can just put it down on the floor. It also affects everyone on your team, potentially, right? If you place it in the right place, or if you place, well, that's probably Fairyland, but like Disneyland. But like, it's going to affect at least another teammate potentially, which is pretty crazy. So I imagine that this is actually quite a good buff to Brim indirectly. And obviously it buffs Reyna indirectly. I think this actually is a bigger change than maybe what people realize, because this means essentially like you basically have more chance to kill your teammate, kill your opponent in times when you are stimmed compared to them not being stimmed. I treat it more like, if anyone's ever played Rainbow Six Siege, a lot of the things with that game, or like what I learned very early on in that game, is probably wrong, to be honest, especially if you're like a good player of that game. That fire rate is king, because one bullet hits the head and they die. In this game, it's right to an extent as well, that if you have a gun that's really strong, like the Phantom or the Vandal, and then depending on range, if you have enough fire rate, if you have more fire rate than your opponent, you just simply have more chance of killing your opponent. Seems pretty good on first glance. If not, maybe a bit situational, but still quite strong on first glance. Weapon updates, Ares, revert crouching benefits, back from standard. This is a crazy patch, by the way. 4 to 5 stars, 13-18 meters, reverting the Ares. What? We're just reliving old metas at the moment. Astra meta's coming back. Chamber meta is not coming back, but it's close. And then Ares meta, when we're buying it over the Spectre. This makes it actually maybe better than the... So back from 25% to 40%. 2.4 to 2.5, making it so it kills in 2 headshots. So what reason do you have to buy the Bulldog over the Ares now? I guess technically the range, because I think Bulldog kills at over 30 double headshots over 30 meters still. Yeah, it does. 87, I think it does on headshot over 30 or over a certain distance. So you will still kill 2 with the bulldog, but over 30. But in close ranges, why build the bulldog? Why use the bulldog when you can use the Ares for like 450 cheaper? Yeah, so I think the Ares is actually going to be good next patch. This also means a lot as well with the crouching accuracy bonus. Yeah, generally Ares is going to be back. And I think the rest aren't too concerning for me. So yeah, I think that's it for the patch. I think overall this patch seems pretty insane. Yeah, so that's it for the patch notes rundown. I'll see you in my next one.